Hello and welcome to the next upload from Legoland Malaysia, and today is all about Lego Kingdoms. Now I went into this completely blind, I had absolutely no idea what way I was walking around, and we ended up doing a figure of 8, I think completely by mistake. So we'll go in, take a look at everything that's on offer, including all of the different rides. There's some good places to grab a bite to eat, there's some really nice models in here as well, and this section of the park feels really open and massive. So they've still got the big castle here, they've got the roller coaster here as well. The track does look very, very impressive. I think we'll see that going around in a little bit. And there is also the apprentice here as well, and that is where you go around the track twice, but that still had a little bit of pace to it as well. Now, because I turned up to Legoland Malaysia and it was very, very quiet, it was literally adult-only day. There was hardly any teeny tiny ones there. So all of the adults were going on every single ride that you could imagine and just enjoying themselves. It was a really, really nice atmosphere. It was a perfect time to come and have a look around. Now, I did see some models that I've never seen before, which is obviously a really nice thing. And you can spot them that on the apprentice just there. You have got the dragon with the little baby dragons in the queue line, and we will be taking a look at that in a little bit as well. And then on the left-hand side, you've got a lot of benches, and then you have that thing just down there. So we will finish back by that, I do believe, even though I didn't think about it and thought we would actually end up somewhere else. So some of the lands, you've got 2 ways in, 2 ways out. I don't think there is actually a second way out this way. It's just figuring out where I was supposed to be going, hence why I now backtrack and go back to this in case I don't get back to it. But that was a complete waste of time, because we do. But you can see just how nice this thing looks. It's a good photo opportunity as well with regards to all the bits and pieces that are on there, and it's just very, very open space. You can see how it's just in a really nice location, huge amount of area. They've got plenty of seating that you can sit down on, and because you've got the natural shading from the tree, it felt nice and cool. So when you were walking around and the sun was, where you can see on the ground, the sun was really, really belting down, but if you just stuck to the shade, it was just a really nice thing. So they didn't have to have any special coverage at this side of the park like they have done in the other areas of the park where it's a little bit more open. But the theming with the trees and everything like that work absolutely perfect. So that is the queue line for the Dragon's Apprentice. You can see that just there. And then you have the little track just behind it. And I did end up going on that because I wanted to see exactly what the queue line was like. But look at the pace of that dragon roller coaster behind. That is so much quicker than the one that they have at Legoland Windsor, and it is a completely different track layout as well. So I keep saying this, it's definitely worth, if you enjoy your Lego, definitely worth if you're on holiday and there's a Legoland park, get yourself over to it, because you will be surprised how different it is. Now, there is a huge play area there. All of that is for the teeny tiny ones, and it goes back quite far as well. And again, it's really nice theming in there. Obviously, it's middle of the day, so I'm not going to walk in and through when the smaller ones are playing, but at least you know that it's there. And again, the nice thing about this park, there are bins everywhere as well, so you don't have any rubbish on the floor. You don't have to hold on to things too long when you finish your drink or anything like that. But look at the height of that. Yes, don't compare it to anything like Islands of Adventure or any of the big American parks or any of the other theme parks really, but if you compare this to some of the other Legoland parks, it's quite a big track, which is great because that is the Dragon's Apprentice that's going around, and even that had a bit of kick to it. So that's meant for the smaller ones, and then the other one is obviously meant for the bigger ones. So both of them were good fun. Now, the nice thing about this is that they did have quite a few different models within this section of the park that you don't really tend to see at this section of the park. So they've got the wolves and everything, and they've got a lot of different animals within this, but they have that at Billund, but they have it at the lodges rather than the actual parks itself. So some of them, well, see, there's multiple models for every single park in different places around the world, but you don't always see these models inside the Legoland parks. They tend to be around by the accommodations or different bits and pieces like that, whereas here, well, it was just here and it looked great. And they had a big jousting track as well. There's nobody on it, so you can see that this one's just coming round, and you've got the little prong that just comes out, and it's a nice looking little thing. So if you wanted to get on that, you're more than welcome to. You can see them then just bouncing around and doing whatever. So there must have been one person on it at some point for the rest of them to go. But again, theming on the inside of that looks nice, and we still have yet to get to the huge castle. So the track is still to our left-hand side, so don't forget, you actually join the queue line through the castle, and then you come outside for the roller coaster track itself. But there is a huge area that you can actually go through, which is the same at every single Dragon coaster around the world, that you have lots and lots of different models to look at before it speeds up and it goes outside. So again, quick look at the track before we carry on, because I'm just trying to get my bearings with regards to thinking what way I'm supposed to be going, because I don't have a map, because I'm stupid. So I just made this up as we go along, and I was just trying to find every single thing that you could possibly find with regards to all these different models and all these other different bits and pieces as well. And it's just a really nice looking thing. Now, they had some of these which looked a lot older than some of the others that I have not seen before, so that did look very, very impressive. And again, you got this really big castle front, and then you walk over the drawbridge and you are good to go. Now, I walked, I don't know if I can't remember if I actually filmed it, but I just walked straight in. I walked all the way around the top, and I was the only person on the ride. And when I pulled back up again, there was a small queue of about 5 or 6 people. That is how quiet it was on the day that I went here. You could wait for a long, long time at different theme parks around the world to get on this type of roller coaster. And they've got this on the inside just underneath, so plenty of shade. This is really nice and cooled and air conditioned in there if you just wanted to wait and get out the way. So that's a nice little touch, because it was just a nice bit of shelter. Or you could just head up the stairs. Obviously, we've seen some of these models. I think that chap has been in Dubai, potentially Billund, but I know he's at Windsor. So they do tend to get around, so they have got multiple models in each park. And right, we are walking up. So I did actually film it. I can't remember if I did or not, because I did do 3 of these Legoland parks back to back, and I can't remember what I filmed where, so I'm not going to lie. So I'm basically watching this back blind and just hoping that I'm talking about the correct country. Now, we have got these really nice things in big picture frames. It was very clean walking through this one, because obviously it's undercover as such, but you have got the open bit on the inside. Now, Dubai, this is actually all indoors and it is all air-conned, because it is so hot over there. Whereas this one, it felt nice and cool, because all of these had all the really big fans, and it did seem to have a lot of shade and shelter, and it just felt really clean. There was no dirtiness or anything like that, because potentially, just because the wall is actually solid on the one side, whereas I think at the one in Windsor, they've got open vents that you can look in and out of, and obviously then the birds can come in and do that kind of thing. But you've got the little TV, you've got some more steps, you come up, and that is the end of the queue line. Now, if I remember rightly, because I think this is the park, you will see in a second exactly what you do. That I wish I could film for you. That is about 3 minutes long of just amazing models at a really slow pace that tells a story before it shoots off and then does one loop around that track. Then you pull back up again. Then when you come down, depending on again where you are in the world, you have a photo booth. You always end up in either a restaurant or you end up in a shop. This one, you end up in a shop just like you do at Legoland California, whereas Windsor, you just sort of jump back down again, then you meet into the middle. So every exit is slightly different, but there was a good selection. So the shop, again, it's quite a large shop. You can see you've got a mix of absolutely everything. Of course, you got all the Dragon stuff, but it was quite nice to see all of the storage containers, lots of Disney stuff, and then again, you've got the 3-in-1 sets, and of course, you've got all the Legoland exclusives. And some of the harder to find sets, they're the ones with the yellow strip down the outside of the box. You've got a lot of the brick heads, and then you've got all these sort of flip-flops, the different bags, lots of different bits and pieces. And you can see there were all the newer Harry Potter sets at the time of this being filmed, and then there's some of the older ones as well. So if you're watching this back from the future, did you manage to pick any of these up, or has it all changed since this has been recorded? And then again, good selection of bags, backpacks, and just the kind of things that you can really only get at the Legoland Park. So you can't really get these anywhere else. Obviously, you can potentially get them online, but they just don't have the space at the normal Lego stores. So again, lots and lots of space. It's a nice big area. So even if the rides were full and people were coming off, you wouldn't feel claustrophobic in this shop because it is a nice open space, easy enough to walk around. You can see there's a vast variety of different types of clothing, all the different colours. You've got the teddy, there's some more 3-in-1 sets as well, loads of them, all different price points. You've got the smaller sets and the bigger sets, and of course you've got some of the Minecraft boxes. They're easy enough to see because obviously they're just the deep green boxes, and they have a big thing about the keychains and key rings over in this country, and the luggage taggage as well, which is nice. But again, behind the till, they have the really big, expensive sets as well. So you can see you've got the big Harry Potter stuff, you've got the Disney castle, you've got the train, you've got the other castle. It's a lot of money's worth just behind there. And then just over the way, if you wanted to sit down with your packed lunch, you can do. And if you want to play a game or watch the entertainment, well, you can do, because you've got all of that kind of thing just there. And again, that is in really good shelter. So you can see how actually the stage in this place is set just that little bit further back than what they normally are, and they've added on a little bit of extra storage. Now, I missed this the first time I went round, and we looked at it second time round, is there is actually a cutout print in that door of it looks like somebody's actually been catapulted through. So we will catch up with that in a little bit. We have only got 10 minutes left, so well, less than 10 minutes now. We are just over the halfway mark. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. I'm saying this in all the videos now. Keep your eyes peeled for all of the other Legoland parks and all of the other Legoland adventures that I get onto in the year of 2024. There are multiple playlists available now for all the different Legoland parks around the world, and if you want to see all the travel aspect, all the different hotels, and what else you could get up to, for example, in Singapore, because obviously this is being filmed in Malaysia, head over to the Global Life Travels channel, and that will have all of the other theme parks like Disney, Universal, and all of that kind of thing as well. And it gives you information on how to get to these parks and the best places to stay, flights, and all of that kind of thing. Now, again, here they had different theming bits and pieces. So you can see we've got that sort of wizard spinning ride, which we've got at Windsor. But then the next one, I think, is on the little plane where it comes up and back down again, which we don't have at Windsor. And then, of course, you've got the big jousting one, which they... Oh, I've only ever seen that at California, I think. I don't think Billund doesn't have it. I'm trying to think where else actually has this ride. It's just really interesting and good use of space. I think if Windsor had the space, for example, in that enchanted forest, this would work really well in there. You could just walk around the outside of the ride, lots of trees. It's just nicely covered. It's a big area, but again, I would imagine it's a huge cost to install something like that. But within this section, because you've got 2 roller coasters and then you've got a smaller ride as well, it's quite nice to have something completely different. And it's on theming because it is obviously horses and jousting. Now, as we start to come out, you can actually see there just the size of the little horses, and obviously they're on a spare track, so they can add more if they need to. So you get a different colour horse, different coloured shield, and a different emblem, and that was a very, very sneaky battery change. You can see that they have got the Mythica Journey to Mythica as a 4D ride. They do not yet have a Mythica section here at this park, nor do they have a Ferrari section at this park either. Now, I was blind to see this, but if I actually turned left, there is another land just there. So I completely missed going into the next land. I had no idea where I was going, and we end up in the Miniland. So we actually end up doing a full loop completely by mistake, and then there was a realization that there was actually another path that I missed. So then I came back on myself, and we have a look at that for the last sort of 4 or 5 minutes. But this is a bit of a sneak peek of what's to come with regards to the Miniland. It's huge. Each one of those colours is a completely different area, and yes, it is all undercover, and there are huge fans on the inside where they will try and keep you cool. Now, the reason why a lot of these videos are no longer than 20 minutes long, apart from obviously the full park tour and the Miniland tour, is the cameras were getting so hot. Yes, cameras. So I took 2 with me, and they would not last that long with regards to overheating. And the GoPro, for the first ever time in the Miniland section, overheated because I was walking so slow. But when I came back out and was doing this, it was fine. It didn't come up with a warning symbol that it was about to explode. But then I turned it off and took the battery out, and then it all cooled down for 5 to 10 minutes because it was roasting. So we've come back in. and I wanted to take a look at the inside of that queue line. So that is what we're going to be doing now. I think we're going to walk up, we're going to snake around and just take a look. So this is the ride. I thought I'd be able to film it and not get on it. I was mistaken, and I got on it. So it was fine. It was a nice quick little ride. It was quicker than what I thought it was going to be, and it's just one of those standard double loop rounds. They have them at a lot of the different theme parks around the world. But what I enjoyed is all of the theming that you're looking at now, because I would never have seen all of this. I didn't spot them doing the archery. I just saw some little dragons with the teacher. I didn't realise what they were doing. You've got the ladder up at the top speaking to somebody else just there, and then you've got this nice little sort of walkway through. This was nice and cool in here as well. You've got all the fans. You can see the fans above my head just trying to keep you cool. It's difficult to describe the heat with regards to how humid it is. It's not so much the sun. It is very, very humid over in Malaysia and in the Philippines and in Singapore like that. And of course, while I was over there, they had weather warnings for unusual heat. So it was one of the hottest it had ever been, and it was incredible to see the locals struggling as well. So I thought I did okay. I thought I got the filming done, and hopefully you're enjoying this loop around. So we are about to move on to the next section. So we've just got the building bit. I've just got on the ride, just got back off again. Obviously you can't film on the ride, and then you just come back through, and then you have got the track that is really nice because it goes over the queue line. I quite like that when you come back out, because they do that at Billund as well with the polar ice explorer ride, I think it is. That's a great roller coaster, that one. Nice and quick. You've got all the nice detail on there, and they also do that at, I do believe it is the one in California as well, which is for the Dino ride, where as you escape you can see people going around and you just get a different perspective of seeing the track underneath. Now again, with regards to the flooring and things, depending on the type of tile will depend on basically where you are in the park. Now that sounds a little bit weird and wonderful, because normally the colours completely change, or you can just tell that you're in a completely different section. So say for example like the Lego City, you then suddenly start walking down a road, whereas when we do the full park tour, you'll see that when we go from one sign to another, it's just slight differences with the ground, and it's just something completely different. It's subtle, but I think it works really well. Now, again, I've done this in a couple of the other videos as well. What I really like about this theme park, and it's completely different to anything else, is that as you enter the land, it will have a height chart for all of the rides. So we've already seen that in the adventure section, but here this is a chef special, so I know you guys and girls like your food, so that is what was on the menu for there. And I don't think anything around this way was open. That's why I didn't go in anywhere to film, because obviously it was so quiet. There was only certain areas open at the time. The water looked nice, it looked good, and obviously people throw a couple of coins in there to make a wish from time to time. There was no dragon in this water like they've got at Windsor. And then again, you've got all of these really cool areas just to sit down. You can see the huge fans up there, and you can obviously close, I think you might be able to close the sides off if you got really, really hot. And then you've got just a nice shelter there. So I think what I'm going to do now is I need to change the battery, or it's getting a little bit hot. So you will notice very, very slyly, you're not going to see it whatsoever, that we've just changed the battery and now we're walking back on again. Now this is where I spot the gate, because I didn't see it the first time, but there's a catapult just there, and then if you carry on looking up to the right hand side, it looks like somebody has been thrown through the gate. So there is detail at this park everywhere. You've got to look everywhere. You've got to look in the trees. You've got to look on the ground. There's models everywhere. Nothing looked dated. Nothing looked worn, which was amazing considering how hot it is there. You would have thought even like the signage would have faded in colour. Nope. It was all really clean and tidy. But guys, I've got about a minute left, so we are just going to finish off on this loop. So like I said, I did a full loop of this. There's two different ways down. You could have walked down the steps, which is what I did the first time, or you've got this way that you could walk down the second time. And I didn't realise they both end up at the exact same spot. But at least you know now, you don't have to be stupid like me. It's only one way in, one way out for this. But if you were to just walk in a little bit further in a straight line, just turn left, there is a full land just there as well, just tucked away in the corner. Then you come back out again and you move on. There's lots of little pockets of land at this park, and it does look very, very good. So just keep your eyes peeled again for all the individual videos as they get uploaded, and of course there'll be a full park tour of absolutely everything as well. And if you're a Star Wars fan, well, there's something quite special to come within this playlist, so keep your eyes peeled for that as well. So I'll say it one more time, guys. If you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Ta-da.